All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys the jerk pork recipe. What I've started with is, this is a pork shoulder. Pork shoulders are very inexpensive. These are about, you can get these between 70 and 90 cents a pound. Anything more than $1 a pound is very expensive for a pork shoulder. So what you do is you get a pork shoulder, you ask them to slice it up for you 1.25 inches thick, right? And the first thing I want to do when I get this home is I want to wash this meat. And I have no idea what kind of unwanted bacteria is here, because this came from the store, right? So there are a couple of ways I know how to wash meat. One of the ways is vinegar. Another way is lemon or lime juice, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do both. First thing I'm going to do is just add a little bit of vinegar. And get my vinegar and literally turn the water on here. And I'm literally just gonna get in here and give it a good wash and give it a good rinsing in this vinegar. I should have mentioned the first thing I actually did before I started anything else was to wash my hands. Get rid of all that water, that excess water. And you don't necessarily need to do both, but we have a saying in Jamaica called prevention better than cure. So whenever I'm washing meat, I like to do it both ways, because I tend to feel like whatever the vinegar didn't miss, whatever the vinegar doesn't catch, the lemon juice is going to catch any unwanted bacteria, that is. Because as you know, there's good bacteria and bad bacteria. So any unwanted bacteria, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of with this lime juice. That's still remaining from whatever didn't come off. And you just really, you want to spend a little bit of time and make sure you're getting all the pieces nice and washed. Honestly, with these meats that you get from the grocery store, there's no telling what kind of process they've been through. There's no telling where they've been, and there's no telling how many hands they've been through before they reached you. Now that's nice and washed. I really want to stress that jerk, the original reason behind jerk is the slow cooking on a coal fire. Originally it wasn't charcoal. Originally it was wood fires. But these days I use charcoal. So you use charcoal because charcoal is a bit easier. That might get cut out eventually and might have to go back to wood fire. But for now we still have charcoal, so I'm gonna use charcoal. But the important thing that I want you to get from this is the fact that jerk is a thing, once it's slow cooked, it can last for days without refrigeration. That's why I really want to share this recipe with you. Now, as far as seasoning's concerned, just like any other cooking, you really want to put what you like. I'm going to tell you what I put. First thing I've got is nutmeg. That's my first seasoning that I use. From what my mom taught me, I put that first, mix that with nothing else, put that on, and let that be the first actual season. All right, so that's the first thing we want. First thing we want to get on there, we get our nutmeg, and we get our nutmeg mixed in there. I'm not a guy that really follows 2 teaspoons of this and a tablespoon of this, and I season to flavor. All right, so the next thing I'm going to go in here with a little bit of seasoning salt. Not very much of that because I'm going to add regular salt later, so I don't want a lot of seasoning salts. And while I'm speaking of salt, I'll just put a little bit of that in now. All right, now you got to remember the meat is 1.5 inches thick, so you want to put enough for flavor, right? Some people like less salt, some people like more. I'm going to go in here with a little bit of garlic powder. I like garlic, so I'm going to go in with a lot of garlic. This complete seasoning, something my wife picked up. She likes to use it. It has a good flavor, so I'm just going to put a little bit on here. It tastes really good, so why not? And then I'm going to go in here with my onion powder. Onion powder gives it a really nice flavor, so I'm gonna go in here with a nice amount of onion powder. Some dry thyme. Adobo. A little bit of meat tenderizer, not much at all. Finally, for my dry seasoning, I'm putting black pepper. We'll just go ahead and stir everybody here together. And I'm gonna go in with a little bit of Sazon. I love this stuff. Tastes great. Just go ahead and dump. I'm dumping the whole pack in there. Again, season the stuff to your flavor. The important part of this jerk is the slow cook on the fire. Whole onion and a grater, and just grater the onion in. And then I'm just gonna go in with some of the Walker's Wood jerk seasoning. Not too much because this stuff is very strong. Grater, cover it up, set it aside to the refrigerator, and let it marinate there for at least a couple hours. Now you want to wait until your coals get nice and white. That way you know that everybody's fully lit. Now that recipe you can use for any meats. You really just want to make sure that you have nice chunks of meat, nice big chunks of meat, big enough chunks of meat, because you don't want to, you're going to be constantly flipping. You're going to be constantly flipping because you're going to, this is a slow cook. You don't want to cook this fast. You want a nice slow cook because you want to cook all the way through without burning. Again, you don't want to cook this in a rush. This is a slow cook, and we're doing a lot of smoking. Smoke is going to be doing a lot of the cooking for you. People love jerk chicken these days. Most people do not realize that this is a preservation food. Most days you get it in the restaurant and it's not getting cooked in the traditional slow manner. So it's not going to be a preservation food when you get it in a restaurant, because no restaurant really has time to jerk this for 4 hours. It's not like we're in the island somewhere where you get up and you're making jerk and this is what you're doing for the day, like me, This is pretty much what the rest of my day is going to consist of: cooking and eating. Important ingredient. The cheaper the better. More alcohol content, so it gives a great aroma. Adds a great aroma to the smoke, which is giving you a lot of the flavor here. So don't be sparing. And it's also going to keep your meat moist. All right, see how that meat's getting nice and red? That's what you want right there. And you just cut a piece of it, and just make sure you cut all the way through, and we should be good. I'm gonna leave this and let it sit a couple more minutes, just because I'm serving it to people and I wanna make sure. All right, now there's your jerk pork. Now you wanna take, and you're gonna slice these up. And when you're slicing these up, you wanna leave a good, generous amount, because remember, you have a bone in the center of these. And you want to leave a generous amount of meat on the bone, because you're gonna get those greedy people that go for the biggest piece, not realizing there's a big bone in the middle here. All right, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all the time you spend with me. That one is another recipe handed down from my mom. Like I said, I really appreciate the time you spend with me. Have fun with that, and check the more recipes to come. Hey, don't forget, hit the subscribe. Thanks.